Welcome back to Peer-Guided DBT Lessons, provided by DBT Skills Application, Peers Helping Peers. This week's lesson, marked 2-12 in our Distress Tolerance module, we'll be looking at Radical Acceptance. Please keep in mind that we're simply peers helping peers, working together to bring about more peaceful, constructive, and ultimately happier lives. In other words, a life worth living. What is radical acceptance? When a situation, event, or emotion is out of our control, fighting against it, in other words, non-acceptance, often leads to suffering. When a reality is painful, it's natural to try to push it away, fight against it, or numb out. Sometimes we attempt this even through unhealthy coping mechanisms, for example, drinking, restricting, binging, etc. These strategies might cause a temporary sense of relief. However, they only serve to bury the underlying issue and cause people to feel even worse in the long term. As illustrated here, pain plus non-acceptance equals suffering. Acceptance simply means that you are acknowledging reality, said psychotherapist Cherry Van Dijk, MSW, RSW. You are acknowledging what happened or what's currently happening, because fighting reality only intensifies our emotional reaction, she said. Fighting reality only creates suffering. While pain is inevitable in life, suffering is optional. And suffering is what happens when we refuse to accept the pain in our lives, said Van Dijk. There are 4 solutions to any problem. Use problem-solving skills, which means you solve the problem. Regulate emotions triggered, so you can change your perception of the problem. You can radically accept and tolerate the problem, or do nothing and stay miserable. So 1, solve the problem. 2, change your perception of the problem. 3, tolerate the problem. Or 4, stay miserable. Remember, we only have to accept actual facts about the present. Reality is what is, and the past caused the present, and reasonable probabilities about the future. Some things are just not possible. Radical acceptance does not mean that something is okay with you. So let's look at what radical acceptance is not. Acceptance does not equal agreement. Acceptance is not condoning behaviors. Acceptance is not judging situations or emotions as good or bad. Acceptance does not mean giving up your needs or opinions. Acceptance does not mean never asserting your thoughts or feelings. Acceptance does not give permission for the situation to go on forever. And acceptance is not ignoring or denying a situation. Radical acceptance means completely and totally accepting something from the depths of your soul with your heart and your mind. You stop fighting reality. When you stop fighting, you suffer less. You accept what is, learn, and go forward. Number 1, reality is what it is. Radical acceptance requires that you look upon yourself, others, and the world in an entirely new way. You must be willing to let go of your ideas about how you should be and simply accept the way that you are in this present moment. When you radically accept something, you are completely releasing judgment of it and avoiding any attempts to fight against or change it. A quote by Carl Rogers says, "The curious paradox is when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." Number 2, everyone's future has limitations. A limitation on the future means that we may be less likely to achieve one or more desired outcomes. Limitations are like probabilities. Accepting these limitations, or probabilities, can be important in setting goals and avoiding failures that may only decrease the quality of our lives. Limitations on our futures are caused by factors that have occurred in our lives, in the lives of others, and in our environment. The key here is that only highly likely limitations have to be accepted. Number 3, everything in the universe has a cause. For whatever happens, we can assume a cause and effect. If you were to radically accept this present moment in time, it means that you would acknowledge that everything that is right now is the result of a very long and complicated chain of events. You are responsible for some of this present moment, and you are not responsible for some of this present moment. Many events have happened to bring you to precisely where you are right now. The present moment never spontaneously leaps into existence without being caused by events that have already taken place. Imagine that each moment of your life is connected like a line of dominoes that knock each other down. A quote by McKay. The idea is that this present moment is the complex consequence of many events, some caused by you and some caused by others. Refusing to accept reality as it is, in essence, is saying that causes, or at least some causes, should not have effects. This would be a remaking of the laws of the universe. The point here is not to identify specific causes or imply that we can always know the causes of events in reality. The reality is that no matter who or what caused your circumstances in this moment in time, you have to deal with them nonetheless. When you radically accept the present moment, you are allowing yourself the opportunity to recognize and take responsibility for the role that you have played in creating the current reality. It can be difficult to recognize the role that you may have played in creating the distressing situation. Remember that you are not a passive observer of your life. You are an active participant. With that in mind, think about what you may have done or not done to help create this situation. And this is important. Let go of the ideas of fault or blame and simply accept. Recognize what external events or behaviors of other people were entirely outside of your direct control. Try to find peace and acceptance in the knowledge that you cannot control the behaviors of other people. Just recognize how much control we do have over creating our current realities. No matter what happens in life, it is always up to you how you choose to respond. Your thoughts and behaviors are entirely up to you. When you're able to assume responsibility for only the things that are truly within your control, your thoughts and behaviors, then you are taking back an enormous amount of power over building a meaningful life. Let go of what is not yours to control. Number 4, life can be worth living even when it contains pain. If life had to be pain-free to be worth living, no one would have a life worth living. Pain cannot be avoided. It is nature's way of signaling that something is wrong. The pain of a hand on a hot stove, for example, causes a person to move the hand quickly. People without the sensation of pain are in deep trouble. Emotions, including those that are very painful, also have functions that are critical to human survival. Let's face it, reality can sometimes be painful. It is natural to want to push away things that hurt and cause suffering. The idea of accepting, much less embracing, a painful reality might seem terrifying. Consider that reality does not change just because you deny it exists. It is still there, waiting for you to deal with it. Radical acceptance takes lots of practice, and understandably it might feel strange and hard. But remember that radical acceptance is about acknowledging reality, not liking it or contesting it. Once you acknowledge what's really happening, you can change it or start to heal. Radical acceptance has nothing to do with being passive or giving up. To the contrary, it's about channeling your energy into moving on. Whatever happened has already happened. It's done. Radical acceptance means fully embracing this reality. Rather than blocking out distressing events and their consequences, allow yourself to reflect on how a different response to the situation on your part may have resulted in a more desirable outcome for yourself and others. When you accept what is, you open yourself up to reflect on what might be in the future. Unless we accept the thorns in our reality, we will miss the beauty that can bloom from them. We will miss growing and maturing to the point of being able to share a part of ourselves with others. Those empty thorns are only a reality until you accept them and grow. What is true is already so. Owning up to it doesn't make it worse. Not being open about it doesn't make it go away. Through radical acceptance, you can learn how to tolerate pain and discomfort in the service of living a truly meaningful life. Be sure to check the video description in the comments below. You'll find a link to the website lesson that accompanies this video. You will also find links to the handouts and worksheets created to complement this video. And while you're there, if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it. Next time in our peer-guided DBT lessons distress tolerance module, we'll be looking at willing hands. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel where our entire DBT course is now available. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye for now.